There's a small cottage at the edge of a quiet lake where the windows glow like amber lanterns at dusk. And tonight, one of them is waiting just for you. Welcome back to Bedtime Tales. Tonight, take a deep breath. Let your shoulders relax and allow this story to gently guide you into sleep. The cottage had been standing beside Willowmere Lake for nearly 100 years. Its wooden beams were silvered by time, its stone chimney steady and strong, and its porch wrapped around the front like open arms. Inside, a fire crackled softly in the hearth. Clara Whitmore had arrived only that afternoon, her car rolling slowly down the narrow gravel path lined with tall grasses and nodding wildflowers. She hadn't visited the lake since she was a child, but the air felt instantly familiar, cool, pine-scented, brushed with the faint sweetness of water lilies. She stepped out of the car and paused. The lake lay smooth as glass, reflecting the sky in soft lavender and gold. A breeze moved across the surface in quiet ripples, like someone smoothing a silk blanket. Clara closed her eyes and inhaled deeply. For months, her life in the city had felt loud and crowded. Emails piling up, sirens wailing through narrow streets, conversations layered on top of each other. Even her own thoughts had seemed noisy, but here, the silence felt kind, not empty, just spacious. Inside the cottage, dust motes danced in slanted beams of late sunlight. The air carried the faint scent of cedar and old books. A knitted blanket lay folded on the arm of a well-loved armchair. Copper pans hung neatly in the kitchen. The cottage had once belonged to her grandmother. Clara smiled at the memory of warm hands guiding hers while kneading dough at the wooden counter. Laughter mingling with birdsong drifting through open windows. She set her suitcase down in the bedroom, opened the windows just a little to let in the evening breeze, and changed into something soft and comfortable. A pale sweater, wool socks. As twilight settled, she lit the fireplace. The first spark caught slowly, then bloomed into a steady flame. Shadows flickered gently along the walls, stretching and shrinking in quiet rhythm. She made a simple dinner: fresh bread, a slice of cheese, tomato soup warmed slowly on the stove. The gentle simmer filled the room with a comforting aroma. She ate at the small wooden table by the window, watching as the last streaks of pink faded into deep blue. Outside, a loon called across the lake. The sound was low and echoing, but not lonely. It felt like a reminder that the world beyond the cottage was alive and steady. After dinner, Clara wrapped the knitted blanket around her shoulders and stepped out onto the porch. The wood creaked softly beneath her weight. Fireflies blinked lazily among the reeds. Across the water, distant trees formed a dark, protective line against the horizon. She sank into the rocking chair and let it sway gently, back and forth, back and forth. Her thoughts began to slow. She remembered being 8 years old, sitting in that very chair while her grandmother told her stories about the lake, how the fish slept near the reeds at night, how the moon painted a silver road across the water. You can follow it with your eyes, her grandmother used to say, but it always leads you back to yourself. Clara smiled. For a long time, she had felt as though she'd wandered far from herself, chasing deadlines, expectations, plans. She had achieved many things. She had worked hard, but somewhere along the way, she had forgotten how it felt to simply sit and listen to the wind. A soft rustle moved through the tall grasses. The night air brushed her cheeks, cool and reassuring. She whispered into the quiet, "I think I needed this." The lake, in its gentle way, seemed to agree. Later, when the air grew cooler, she stepped back inside and closed the porch door with a soft click. The fire had settled into glowing embers, steady and warm. She washed her bowl and spoon, dried them carefully, and placed them back on the shelf. Each small movement felt deliberate, unhurried. Before bed, she found an old journal tucked into the drawer of the bedside table. Its leather cover was worn, the pages slightly yellowed. Her grandmother's handwriting curved gracefully across the paper. The lake teaches patience. It reflects what you bring to it. If you come restless, you'll see ripples. If you come calm, you'll see the sky. Clara sat on the edge of the bed and let those words settle. She reached for a pen, and beneath the old entry added her own line. "Tonight, I came tired, and the lake gave me rest." She closed the journal gently. Outside, a soft rain had begun. Just a light drizzle tapping against the roof. The sound wrapped around the cottage like a lullaby. Not heavy, not stormy, just steady enough to soften the edges of the world. Clara slipped beneath the quilt. The mattress dipped comfortably under her weight, familiar despite the years. The window remained slightly open, letting in cool air that smelled faintly of wet earth and pine. She listened. Rain on the roof, the faint crackle of cooling embers, a distant owl calling once, then again. Her breathing slowed to match the rhythm of the rain. In the quiet of the room, she allowed herself to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time. Enoughness. Not the kind earned by productivity, not measured by accomplishments, just enough. Because she was here. Because she was breathing. Because the lake was steady and the cottage was warm. The next morning would come gently. She might take a walk along the shore, her boots brushing dew from the grass. She might brew coffee and watch mist rise from the water like a soft veil. She might write more in the journal, or do nothing at all. There was no rush. The rain softened further, fading into occasional droplets slipping from leaves. Her eyes grew heavy. She imagined the lake under the moonlight, smooth and silver, holding the reflection of stars. She imagined her grandmother's voice, calm and warm, saying, "Rest now. The world will wait." And it would. The city, the emails, the long lists. They were far away now, paused like a book gently closed. Here, in this small cottage by the lake, time felt round instead of sharp, gentle instead of pressing. Clara turned onto her side, pulling the quilt up to her chin. Her last waking thought was simple and clear. I am home. The fire sighed softly in the hearth, and the night held the cottage in quiet care. And now, as this story settles like the final ember of a warm fire, let your own thoughts grow quiet. Feel the steady rhythm of your breathing, the gentle weight of the blankets around you, the safety of this moment. You're safe. You did well today. Thank you for spending your night with me. Good night, and sleep peacefully.